Hello internet friends, Napyet here. So this is an unusual video on a Saturday for me, but following on from my video last week where I was talking about making some changes and making YouTube again fun for myself again, I was thinking, well, what kind of game do I want to play on YouTube and how can I make it a fun experience for me rather than stressing about getting views and editing and stuff. And I've been scanning around a few opportunities, like possibilities with some sandbox RPGs that are out at the moment that I find look appealing. No Man's Sky kind of looks good and stuff, but I couldn't help but coming back to this thing of I really like Skyrim, and I think my sense of burnout with Skyrim has been because I stopped playing it for fun and started playing it to make these videos on YouTube, but I still really like the game, and I found myself kind of modding a new build of the game, coming up with a new character, and then suddenly really wanting to play this character again. So even though I've spent some time looking for other games I might like to play on my YouTube channel, it turns out I really like Skyrim, and I'm trying to think why. I've talked a little bit about this on my channel before, perhaps not in so structured a way, and I'm trying to think of what is it that keeps bringing me back. And it is the modding. I can really change Skyrim how I want at this stage. So many years of mods are out. It's been modded for almost the entirety of its lifespan across different versions. So, you can. I was listening to a podcast the other day where the person was saying, I really don't like the models in Skyrim. I've never liked the Elder Scrolls kind of look. The elves are a little bit ugly and just don't like it's too generic fantasy. You know what? You can mod that out. You can change it so that it looks more anime. You can change it so that it looks more kind of moody. You can change it so that it has kind of a high fantasy romantic, that the classical idea of like romance literature, like it looks Arthurian and kind of mythical, more mythical than grim kind of thing, and you could do that. And then mechanically you can change so many of the things that you can do in the game. You can change the game from a kind of a god fantasy where you're the dragonborn at the center to a game where you're just a farmer and you run a farm and you sell produce. Or you can change it from a game where you're on your own and super powerful to a game where your strength is your party members with companion mods and so on. The limitations of like the magic can be altered with mods, so you can tailor the magic system and the combat system to the way you like it. In terms of sandbox RPGs, which always vaunt this idea of player choice and player agency, a game that has access to so many mods just is that to the nth degree. Kind of, it was designed with open world exploration and sandbox gameplay in mind, but if you add on to that 5 years worth of mods, it really kind of allows players to exercise that kind of Minecraft sense of craft your own adventure, not just within the confines of the world, but with additions to the world that come through mods. For the game that I'm thinking about playing, I've always wanted to play a wizard. And it's a very specific thing. It's like, you know what? I want a wizard's hat. Why can't I wear a wizard's hat? I don't like the fact that the mages in Skyrim just wear these kind of, well, they're not boring, but they're not very remarkable wizards. I want a Gandalf-looking wizard. There's a mage's wizard's hat that I can wear. I can create that character. So I've added that to my game. I'm interested specifically on this occasion in exploring magic more. That's something I've only done a little bit of and stuck to specific schools. I want a kind of a wizard who does a bit of everything, and I can do that. So this is a long-winded way of saying, you know what, after all this soul searching, it turns out that it's not a change of game I necessarily want, but it's a change of the way that I play Skyrim in this case. You know, people play games for many different reasons, and I play different types of games for different reasons. I really enjoy turn-based strategy, and I've actually got another channel where I just exclusively play strategy games, not all turn-based. And those have much less scope for player agency and crafting the world through mods and doing what you want. They're kind of much more straightforward. You have the battle structure of the game, the gameplay is there, and you either win a battle or you don't win a battle. Sometimes I like the linearness of that. But when it comes to stuff like Skyrim and RPG, really it's an expression for me of being able to do what you want in a game, that fantasy, which is a fallacy. It doesn't exist, and it probably never can exist unless it's, you know, thousands of years in the future when virtual reality really can mimic everyday life. You can't do everything you want in a game, but it is the fantasy of being able to get close to being able to do anything you want. And that it's a slightly old-fashioned idea now, but it was an MMO idea of an alternate world in which you live and you live out your life. So a big part of that, with specifically when it comes to Skyrim, is kind of survival and needs mods. You need to eat, you need to sleep. And I know some people say that is kind of needless busy work, but I've really found that when that isn't there, like the last few playthroughs I've done of Skyrim I've done a bard, I've done a conjurer, a Argonian conjurer, and I took away the survival stuff, and that was the point of that was just to kind of explore those mods, so explore bard mods and explore conjuration mods. But I found without survival, without needs in the game, a lot of the structure was gone for me, and a lot of the challenge and a lot of just the day-to-day structure of living in a world, that alternate world fantasy is gone when you take away the survival and the needs elements. So that's a really important part of that, of playing Skyrim in a fun way for me. I got a comment from someone once saying, you know, it's a really crap game, Skyrim. In order to make it good, you have to add survival and needs mods to make it a challenging, engaging, whatever. And I can see what that person was saying. I don't agree that it's a bad game at its core. But even if let's assume that is true, that there's something lacking from the base game. You can't argue that you could argue, but I would argue that adding those survival and needs mods, well, maybe the developers didn't intend them to be there from the very start, but they are there, and they do make the game much more engaging and fun, and gives the kind of structure that I like. So I knew this was going to be a very rambly, kind of waffly video, but I just wanted to kind of express some of this and talk about the kind of games that I am hoping to do on my channel. And I was thinking maybe I need to stop playing Skyrim. I need to go away and play some other games, and I've downloaded a few new ones, played them a little bit, played some older games, and thought, could I do videos of this? And you know what? The core fun that I get from Skyrim isn't kind of there in those games at the moment for me. I don't feel like throwing myself into them in the kind of way that I want to with Skyrim. So I think for the foreseeable future, I'm still going to play a lot of Skyrim on the channel. So I'm interested in hearing from you guys about why you still play Skyrim. What are the core mods for you? What are the core things that keep you returning to this game? I've heard from many of you and have an awareness now through comments and through chatting back and forth of why people play. And people play in many different ways, but they always seem to, a lot of you kind of go away and then come back to Skyrim after a break. Something is keeping people coming back to this game, just the same as it is for me, even though this week I've really thought about, you know, what kind of thing I want to put on this channel in addition to Skyrim. And I think I am going to put other stuff, but for right now, it's something of a little bit of a kind of a, you know what it is? It's a little bit of a challenge or a thing for me that I wanted to ask. Have you become sick of Skyrim because you're just too familiar with the game? Or is it that you've been trying to create videos in a certain way and that makes it not fun for you? And I'm happy to say it's the latter. It's not Skyrim itself. It's the way I'd fallen into doing videos on YouTube that was taking away some of the fun. So I'm glad I've addressed that with some of this Skyrim I've been playing this week. So yeah, let me know where you're coming from with Skyrim, why you continue playing, and I'll see you in the next playthrough that I do. It's coming up. I've been doing some videos this week. Next week I'll have an update video about the changes to the channel and what the shape of that is going to look like next Saturday, and it'll probably be starting the week after that, these changes that I've got in mind, and I'll talk through them next week. So thank you for listening to this update, this ramble about Skyrim, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Lulu.